Good morning. So I'm on my way to meet up with another single mom that I know. I've known her for a while. We kind of were in the same group, but we're always cordial, we're always saying hi to each other, but I don't really know her that much. And for that reason, I'm a little nervous, but I also know that each time I see her, she's always been the kind of lady that's just so uplifting. She's so quick to give you compliment, and she's always around other women that I just feel so good to be around them. The energy that they have around them and in them, and I'm excited to get to know her with you guys. And I'm on my way to downtown San Diego. That's where we're going to be meeting. And I think I'm ready. So, let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to my second episode for Vanderwoman. It's a blog about single mom empowering other single moms through van life. Today it's such another beautiful day here in San Diego, and I am with a very special lady, Miss Laura. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi, I'm Laura Brownwood. I'm 75 years young, and I'm the happiest, most positive person I've ever met.
She really is. She really is. So, just to show you guys a little bit, we are somewhere in downtown San Diego. There's quite a few boats over there, but we're going to wait because somebody's working and I wanted to respect his privacy. But I'll try to videotape it later, edit it, and put it so you're going to see where we're at. So, today, I just wanted to say thank you. I feel so blessed. Feel very, very good. I woke up super early anticipating this. Got ready, but I was so excited. When you said yes, you didn't even take a minute to respond. You said yes right away. And for that, I'm grateful.
I'd like to pop in here and say
Sure.
It's because of our amazing connection. You could have asked me to fly to New York, and I would have. I mean, we're not that, we've seen each other probably, well, a lot of times, but we hug, and we care about each other, and I love you, so it's easy.
It's amazing that you said that, because when I was driving to come here to meet up with you, I was thinking, how much do I know Miss Laura? I mean, we know each other from the same group. We have, we are both a member of a direct selling company that we both love. I love it so much, and I would even go as far as saying I'm the product of the product. And so,
Hello,
exactly.
75 years young.
And I mean, if she looks really beautiful in video, it's one of those things you have to see her in person. And yeah, that's how we met. But my recollection is every time we see each other, you're always so sweet, so nice. And you and I might not have a whole lot of time chatting with each other, but you always leave me feeling better than when I first see you. I don't know.
Same with you, honey. I mean, our connection and our caring for each other is just, it's very special.
Yeah, and as I was thinking about that, it reminds me of that Maya Angelou quote that people will forget what you say, but they will always remember how you make them feel. And that's
a good one.
how I remember it.
Exactly, that's perfect. Good
Yes.
job.
So this blog is all about single mom, empowering other single moms. And I know you're one. How many kids do you have?
Two.
You have 2 kids? How old are they now?
48 and 45.
And do you have any grandkids?
4 boys.
Oh
One's
my.
half Filipino.
Oh, that's...
He's a step grandson, but he's part of the family to the core. And his mom, his birth mom, and my daughter are bonded.
Oh.
And when he graduated from college, they both said, "We've done this together."
That's beautiful.
It is.
I wish I could say I'm in that situation,
Well,
and I'm not, and it's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress for that.
Okay. And that just kind of makes me realize, there's nothing wrong with always having some room to grow.
You can't get it wrong.
No.
There's no failure. There's just lessons along the path.
I love that. Yeah, you never make a mistake. You only learn something.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now, can you share with me, how did you become a single mom?
I was asked to be married the night I met him. He was
No way.
I was on a date with somebody else. It's a really fun story.
Oh, it
that
is
guy
already.
ended up coming to our wedding, so it was okay.
Oh my God.
And he's a wonderful man, and we were happy for 18 years. And then all of a sudden, I realized he was living my life, not his. He's a twin, and he's the recessive twin. And he was living my life and not his. And we were doing things. I mean, I moved like every 2 to 3 years, buy new houses. When we got a divorce, he lived in a single wide mobile home for 25 years instead of moving every 2 or 3 years into beautiful homes.
Uh-huh.
And when we went our separate ways, we told our children we will always be a team.
Okay.
We're the Brownwood team, and we will always be there for each other.
And how did that go?
When he turned 55, my son came and said, "Come on, we're going to take Dad to dinner." And I said, "Well, how about 60? We'll wait. Get in the truck, Mom." Okay. He said, "We're a team." Okay, So it's worked very well.
So as far as being a single mom, how long has it been that you've been living your single mom life?
Well, a long, long time. But there's something I would like to share.
Okay.
That's more important than anything, in my opinion.
Okay.
When I raised my children, and I taught classes at the church to kindergartners up to the elders of the church. Mm-hmm. And I taught my children and everybody, the little other children I taught, you have to have your own connection with God. You cannot, your parents could be any religion, it could be source, it could be, whatever, it could be any name, but you have to have a connection with your inner being, yourself, your God. You have to have that connection. And I raised my children, I said, you have to be an independent thinker, and you have to have your own connection. And I actually studied my way out of that church. Mm-hmm. Because I knew line upon line, precept upon precept, and it was like, okay, this isn't working. And when I left the church, I told my children, I said, you are welcome to, they were going to a private Christian school. I said, I will keep taking you to the school. I'll take you to church every week, but that's not where I am. But you know that this is your choice. And my daughter said to me, Mom, I'm good. I'm going to live my life doing unto others as I would have them do unto me. Mm-hmm. That's going to be my principle that I'm going to live by. Mm-hmm. And I was so thrilled. A couple hours later, her little brother came and he goes, okay, Mom, I've made my decision. He was 8 at the time. He goes, I'm going to just follow the golden rule, which is basically what my daughter had said. Uh-huh. And I thought I've done something right, because that's the way they have lived their life. And I'd like to interject a couple other things that I've been told many, many, many times. I wish I would have known this before I had children, which obviously most of you already have. Uh-huh. But it's just one way of doing something. There are lots of different ways. And when I finish saying how I did it, I'm going to share some more about the different ways. So my ex-husband, who was always very submissive, I didn't know he was being submissive. I thought he was just in agreement.
Yes.
But
He's so loving. He want to please you.
well, he was submissive because he was a twin and he was the recessive twin. His brother was the dominant twin.
Uh-huh.
But we did love each other very much.
Uh-huh.
So I had gone to my sister's house at Christmas, and my two precious nieces were squabbling over packages and who was going to open what, and they were just focused on the presents. And so I said when we had our daughter, I said, can we not do that? Can we not do that kind of Christmas? And so instead of giving our children presents, we took them to nursing homes on Christmas Eve and Christmas morning because they were vacant. Everyone's home with their family doing their thing. Not everyone, but most people. And the nursing homes are just quiet. And so we went, and my children listened to stories.
Uh-huh.
When my son was 2 years old, we didn't have a TV. They didn't have TV. And when he was 2 years old, he had never seen a TV program. And there was a 94-year-old man. So he's 45 now, and he was 2, and this guy was 94. So this is the early, this is the cowboy days.
Okay.
And he told him stories. And my son just sat there listening to him. And the thrill of seeing this man being able to tell stories, and a 2-year-old just being so enlightened by it. And then... So,
that give and take relationship.
Yeah, it was so beautiful.
I can only imagine.
Oh, it was so beautiful. And they never even said anything about presents until our daughter was in 4th grade, and she goes, Mom, can I get a bicycle for Christmas like my friends do? And we said, sure. We weren't trying to deprive them.
Uh-huh.
We were trying to just teach them something.
Uh-huh.
And it worked. It worked. Now, they have now raised children giving presents,
mm-hmm.
and they've implemented the same thing. So everything is an inside job. Everything is the spirit with which you do it. So obviously it was really easy for us
mm-hmm.
to do this, loving giving thing because that's what we were doing. But when my daughter started doing it, what they would do before they'd open their presents, they would say a prayer for the person who they were opening the present for.
So if you give them the present before they open, they say a prayer for you?
When the mother would hand them from Aunt Lydia,
okay,
then they would say a prayer for Aunt Lydia in appreciation.
Oh.
And now her children, when they're older, they're now, and one's graduated from college and and 2 of them are in college,
mm-hmm.
and they hug their mom and dad after they open up a present. So it's meaning, and
mm-hmm.
you don't have to it's the spirit with which you do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you start. Well, another thing we did was every time we hopped in a car, after I had smashed into a tree once,
okay.
not a bad job, but,
uh-huh.
Then we just started doing travel safety prayers. And when we get in the car, they would just do this. And it was just something we always did. And now to this day, when I get in my car, I set my intention. And one of the things I say is I love interaction with other people. And that puts the spirit of, instead of, if somebody cuts you off, hey, they might be going to have a baby.
Yeah.
Instead of, just looking at everything in a positive way.
I'd like to share, I don't mean to cut you
off,
but when
you
said that, my kids can attest to this. I am one of those people that I feel like I always win the lotto when it comes to parking. Like 4th of July here in downtown San Diego, everybody was telling me it's going to be tough to find a parking. I found a parking right there by the entrance of the gate, and I didn't even have to fight for it.
Exactly.
But when you were saying earlier about your kids, about you have your own line to whatever you want to call it, God, the source, as you're saying that, I was thinking it's like having our own personal line number. Like I have my phone number, it's only mine. And that's how people get a hold of me, and that's how I get a hold of people that I love. You have your own phone number, and that's just yours. I think in my mind, the way my brain works, how I understand stories is by playing that story that you're telling me in my head and translating it to something that I understand. So I think it's so beautiful when you're saying that. We all have our ways of connecting to the source, to God. And when you're saying that, like I said, I was thinking about the phone numbers. So we all have our own phone number,
Right.
and that's just mine. And then when you said something about your kids, when it was time, you told them you could do whatever you want as far as, after teaching them everything. And as you were saying that, again, I'm thinking to myself, that's the most loving thing to do. I remember each of my 3 kids when I'm teaching them how to learn how to ride a bike. I can only tell them so much, guide them, give them some tips. But at some point, they need to saddle up. They need to get into that bike. I will guide them for like the first few steps, but eventually I have to either push and let go or just push. But really, I have to push and let go. And that's how they will learn. So in my brain, those stories were in my head as you were saying that, and that's how I understand. So I thought it was so beautiful that you do those things. And I love how you guys pray when you're opening the gifts, and that prayer goes to the person who gifted them. I've never done it, and I would say it. I wish I knew it before.
It's okay, yeah.
Yes, but
it's never too late. It's never too late. But it is, and there are, every impact, even to this day, we have impacts. And, but I would like to share one thing.
Oh, sure.
About, so my son, both of them, but they both have, and I just realized this about 5 years ago.
Okay.
They both have this deep love for seniors. And I never got the connection. My daughter takes care of veterans. She's raised $80,000 up in the Julian area so that vets could have a meal served twice a week, or I think on Mondays. I'm not sure, but anyway, I mean, she's so into the veterans. She does so much for them. And my son, he lives up in Oregon and Ashland area. He will cut 1 or 2 cords of wood for any senior lady that has a fireplace or a wood stove. That's a lot of work, and he takes it.
And do you think that has something to do with that experience that
you shared with
totally,
them? Yeah. I mean, I always thought it was so loving, but they're just right there for the seniors, And when my son's landlady, who was 93 years old, died just in her sleep, he was so broken up for 2 months. I said, honey, she was your landlady. He said, Mom, she was my best friend. He'd go over and build her things and do things for her. So, but here's the most important aspect of all of this. When you do something, you do it with your heart. You do it with love. And and that's the most important thing. Let's say you decide you want to give your children, $500,000 worth of presents. You do it. You pray. Well, so there's different ways of saying it. The Bible is pray without ceasing, and live with intention, mindfulness, and that, if I say nothing else today, is the most important thing you can possibly do. And when I did go to that church, I would walk into any new store and just say, "Be with me, be with me. I'm here with you. Be with me." And whenever I would meet somebody, I was so faithful about doing that, and it was amazing. And to this day, I try to set my intentions before I do something. And that is just the most, you connect with your higher power, and then they know exactly what to do.
I would love to add to that, because on my way here, I was so nervous, and I don't know why. And I'm trying to talk myself out of that nervousness. And the only thing that helped me is when I reminded myself, what was my intention for doing this?
Perfect.
I reminded myself I'm doing this so I can raise awareness for single moms. And also, if someone is listening who's a single mother, for them to realize, hey, we've been through it, I've been through it, you've been through it, and some of the other people that I'm going to be talking to and that I talk to have been through it. and it's okay. So I guess going to, starting from there and leading to the next question, when you were going through the initial separation, how was that experience for you?
That is when I made a decision. I was driving up a dirt road, and it was in the country, and my mom had been maniacally depressed. She had attempted suicide that I found her 3 times.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so trauma.
Uh-huh.
And I just said, okay, God, I am choosing to be a happy person. I am choosing to be positive and to look for the positive. And when people think about me, I want them to think about a happy and positive person. And I made that commitment. I was 30 years old. I made that commitment, and my heart just filled up. And that's a choice that we make. Now, there's 2 ends to every stick. You pick up a stick, there's 2 ends. There's 2 ends to every subject. What you want and what you don't want. And every time you possibly can, if you can focus on what you want versus what you don't want, you're going to be in a better place. Whatsoever a man thinketh, therefore he is. So, the subject. And when there are people in your life who have done you wrong and who have, characteristics that are not pleasant, and I consult with I do this joy consultancy, and I've helped thousands of people. And the most important thing you can do is to look for something good in them. Not because you're trying to get, to do anything but make you feel better. So you've got somebody, and I had this one joy consultancy client, and I told her, I said, you have to give me 10 things that you like about your husband, your ex-husband, the guy who just left her for another woman.
Okay, how did that go?
She went, no way, no way. And so we went to some other subjects, and she started doing it in other subjects. She had quite a few complaints about life. And after 3 months, we'd meet once a month, she was, just so appreciative of the things that she had shifted about where she works, about her parents and things that her parents were doing. And so I said, okay, I think it's time for you to try to write 10 things. And she goes, well, the other things have worked, I'll give it a shot. So she did. She hated him.
With passion?
She hated him. I mean, he had left her for another woman. And she wrote these things, and when she emailed me the list, she said, okay, I did it. And I said, I'll marry him.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, he did some really bad things, and it was more than just leave her for another woman. But he had some really fine qualities, too. Really fine qualities. And so when I got it, I said to her, I've never done this before, but why don't you send him a copy? And because he had told her that she had to get all of her stuff out of a storage that cost $400 a month, and she didn't have the money, and she was, it was really, and so, and she was in, her hatred mode had been really high, but this list had shifted. And so she sent it to him, and he called her and he said, my grandmother died a week ago, and I loved her more than anybody else on this planet, and I never shed a tear. He said, I'm sitting here beside my computer sobbing. You will always be in my heart. And he let her have the storage unit. And they used to run marathons together, and they ran a marathon a couple years later together. And now she's in a relationship with a wonderful man. So,
forgiveness, huh?
Yes, forgiveness, and to get to that place, if you can just focus, even if it's just they rake the front lawn, whatever it is, if you can shift from the negative or what you don't want to the positive. And it's not because you're trying to get back with that person, but it's amazing what it will do.
When I was going through my divorce, I mean, I would have loved to talk to my girlfriends and my mom, but my mom worries more, so I try to spare her, the agony of finding out how I'm hurting, because I know it hurts her more. So I skip that. And then, like I said, my girlfriends, they don't always know what to say, and I don't want to burden them. At least that's what I thought in the beginning. I don't want to burden them of what's going on in my life. So I resorted to reading books and listening to, speakers like Les Brown and whoever is out there that's giving me the message that I don't know if I need it, but if it makes me feel good at the moment, I take it.
Feeling good is so important.
I take it. And so I did a lot of reading. That's when I came across Marianne Williamson's Return to Love. That's something that I'd like to maybe even share later on in another video, because that book in itself did me so many good things. And then one book that I read that I felt like that was a time when I switched my mindset, is when I was reading A Purpose-Driven Life. And there's one part in that book that says, if someone hurts you, God expects you to forgive that person, whether they ask for forgiveness or not.
Exactly.
But at the same time, God does not expect you to allow that person to hurt you over and over again. That's when something clicked in my brain. I was like, okay, I forgive you, but I have to cut you off. And that's when I realized the happiest people are those people who knows their boundaries. And I never knew about the word boundary when it comes to that. So that's when I started really doing stuff that I thought was loving to myself. And when I say loving, it makes me happy, so I do it.
Okay, let me interject something in here.
Sure.
You need to take care of yourself first and foremost. And some people call that selfish, but if you don't take care of you, then the people around you are going to they're not going to get the best you. You want to give them the best, most loving you, and that's why you have to love yourself and take care of you. And one more thing before I jump back into you. When you wake up in the morning, if you can give yourself a hug and just with your heart, feel in your heart and just say, thank you for a night's rest, or even if you were awake the whole night, thank you for being with me. Thank you for being me. Thank you, cells. Thank you, heart, for pumping. It is every cell in your body benefits from that.
And if I could add to what you said about not being selfish, I remember hearing somewhere, I can't remember, but instead of thinking that doing stuff that makes you happy and makes you feel good is selfish, think of it as self-full.
Oh, that's good. I've never heard that word. That's good.
You're being self-full, and
yes.
when you're full, you have more than enough for yourself, and you're overflowing that you can give so much away.
Perfect. Yes.
I love that. And after I heard that, I'm like, I'm being self-full today.
Oh, that is wonderful. I can't believe I've never heard that. That is wonderful. Self-full.
Yes.
It is so important because, I mean, if you have a choice between taking care of somebody else and letting yourself go down a hill, you're not going to be able to take care of that person correctly. So if you take care of yourself, then, and that's another thing. When you wake up in the morning, before your brain kicks into gear with all the stuff you have to do and the things, people you have to see and blah, 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 if you can just connect, just put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, pray, talk, whatever it takes, and just get to a happy place without letting all that other gibberish. If you can start your day without going to the negative side of the stick and just Even if there's only 3 things in your entire life to be happy about, go to those things. I mean, your heart beat all night. Your lungs most likely did their thing.
They're doing their job.
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, one more thing before we end this. I know that there's going to be some people that's going to be watching this, and probably mostly single moms like us. And if they're currently going through this and working through whatever they need to work through, I myself, when I was going through it, it was so hard to think straight. You know, that's when my emotion was so high, and that's all I could, my energy is all in my heart and not so much in my brain. And I learned that there's a purpose why God put the brain on top of the heart. But when you're going through divorce, like I did, that thing is out the window. But now that we're in a different space, we're in a different place, I believe that our pain has a purpose. And I could say this with 1,000% certainty, that whatever I went through before in the past, I'm so grateful that I went through it. But that's my experience. I feel like
Yes.
you have so much more.
Yes.
If there's somebody out there, another woman out there that's going through what we went through, what you went through, what's one thing that you would tell her?
Thank you for asking that, because nobody else is responsible for your happiness. It's an inside job. Nobody. I was in a relationship a couple years ago, and we were having fun. Everything was just, it was really fun, and things were going well. And then he said he's going to visit his sister. I get an email, and he said he's not coming back, that he's going back with somebody else that he had been with before. And he was not a truth teller.
Okay.
And all my friends were just broken. And I said, no, nobody else is responsible for my happiness. And now I have been through, girls, I've been through it where I was a drama queen, okay? I'm 75. I've had a few of these experiences.
You're beautiful, 75.
I have been through it where the drama queen was, I still was very happy and positive, but when it came to men, I was a drama queen. And this time, it was like, fine, do what you want to do. You are not affecting my happiness. And it's one of the things I'm the most grateful for in my life, is to nobody else is responsible for your happiness. Now, it doesn't come overnight, you don't just all of a sudden, but if you can just find, and there's many books on it and talks and stuff, but if you have any questions at all, I know they can ask these questions. I'm happy to answer them. But happiness is an inside job. And nobody else is responsible for your happiness.
It's funny that you shared that. I also went through a breakup sometime last year. And I really care about this person. And then, of course, things didn't work out. And it got a little too intense toward the end. I was sad for a while. But then something in me again switched to where, you know what, I'm grateful that I was able to experience all those fun things that I've experienced with him.
Yes.
I'm grateful that I was reminded how it is to really be, I would even say, fall in love and almost like completely allow yourself to feel that feeling. I'm grateful that, that if there's anybody that I would have shared all those fun experiences I had with him, I'm glad it was him.
Perfect.
But I was thinking, just as any of these good books that I started to read and I finished, as much as I love these books, at some point it ends and I have to close that book, and all I have are the lessons that I learned from that book. And just like Purpose Driven Life, I was so into it. I was in that time of my life where I needed something, and that book gave it to me. And but at the end, I had to close that book. I wasn't sad about it because I learned a lot of lessons. So when I shifted my mindset to, he's just another good book, I'm glad I read him.
Perfect.
I'm
That's
glad I
so
learned a
good.
lot from
Yes.
him. But now that book is
Perfect.
over, and that's
Yes.
why on my blog, and on the door of my van, it says the best is yet to be, because I know for a fact, you and I believe in the higher power. The higher power did not allow this relationship to end just because it has to end. There's a reason why it ended. It's because the best is yet to come.
We have lessons, and if we can learn from the failures, from the heartache, if we can learn from those, life just keeps getting better and better and better.
And we are a better person because of what we've experienced.
Exactly.
So I'm so happy that we had this chance to talk. Also, I want to thank you for calming my nerves down. I'm probably going to edit it out, but there were a few times where I have to, at least one time that I had to stop because I'm so overwhelmed. I look at you and you have this energy that's so beautiful. I didn't know how to handle it. And I'm so grateful that, you calmed my nerves down, reminded me. I love how you asked me 5 things that I love about myself. Oh, I didn't even know. And I want to keep going. I didn't think I have 5 things to say right away.
Yeah.
And it was a bit far, and I had more, but you said 5, so I stopped at 5. But I could have said more, but it took you looking me in the eye, asking me that question. So I'm grateful. This is such a blessing. I'm so grateful that I got to know you a little bit more intimate. So now when I see you somewhere else, I can never look at you the same way ever again. And in this, I mean this in the most beautiful way.
Wonderful. Well, I am so proud of you with what you've done with this van. What a little carpenter she is. and loving and caring. You've got so much. I'm thrilled to be part of this.
Thank you. So everybody, if you have any question for Miss Laura, please leave it on the comment below, and then I'll share that with her. And again, if you find this vlog interesting, or if you think you'll benefit from this blog, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you know anybody that you think will benefit from this video, please share. I appreciate you guys, and thank you for listening. You have a wonderful day.
Happy, 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 happiness to all of you.
Take care. Bye.